Hi, I'm Katie, and today I'm going to show you how to make a very, very delicious peri peri mayo from plants. It's all going to be plant-based, it's all going to be very low fat, and I can't wait for you to try it yourself. Pumpkin, so good. Look at the colour. Just going to take the seeds off there. That pumpkin's ready to chop up. Big chunks today. Okay, so I think maybe just a little bit smaller so it cooks a little bit faster. Okay. That's now ready to go in the oven, so I'll just get my tray, standard tray. So about 10 minutes ago, I just set the oven to 180 degrees Celsius, and I'm just going to pop this in at 180 degrees until it's cooked and roasted, soft through the middle. It's going to probably take between 40 to 50 minutes. If you wanted to turn the temperature up a little bit more, you could, and maybe it will go a little bit faster. But let's put it in and see. Okay, so while the pumpkin is in the oven, I'm going to prepare everything else. This is so quick. I can't even believe how quick it is to make this. And I really think it's a better option than buying other mayos from the shops that are, you know, very processed and full of nasty fats. So this is great to use on salads. You can use it on, you can drizzle it on anything that you want. I've become pretty obsessed with it. So it's just a nice way to add a little bit of kick, a little bit more flavour to some of the foods that you'd usually whack on a whole heap of tomato sauce or sriracha. It's just a really great option. So while the pumpkin's still roasting, I'll just get the rest of this prepared. So into a blender, you could also use a NutriBullet for this. I actually need to get a NutriBullet because I do find sometimes that with the blender, you have to end up scraping down the bottom, whereas in the NutriBullet, it's a bit easier when you have that smaller attachment to just scoop the dip out. So I'm going to get one of those soon. But we're going to use the blender today. And into it, I'm going to put a half a cup of clean filtered water, half a lemon squeezed, I made this for my dad the other day, and I think he really enjoyed it. And he's not one to make a lot of things anymore, but he seemed to be encouraged by the fact that it was so easy and there were so few ingredients that you actually have to get. So on to the next part. This is the key to healthy cooking and eating, is the herbs and spices. That's where the flavour is. So I've got smoked paprika. There's going to be a teaspoon of that in there. Garlic and onion powder. I like organic. Half a teaspoon of each. Half a teaspoon of Celtic sea salt. And a quarter of a teaspoon of chipotle powder. That's going to give it the kick. So what I've done is I've just put it all into this little bowl, as you can see. There it is. I'm just going to put that straight in. The last ingredient is Dijon mustard, organic. Now once the pumpkin is roasted, I'm going to add that in. We're going to blend it up and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, it's pumpkin time. I'm excited. So I've just pulled the pumpkin out of the oven. So it's still pretty hot. So you can check it out. Look at that. See? Yummy. And I'm just going to toss it in here. Now, just to show you, so obviously I'm using this because it's seriously still hot. The way that I've worked this recipe is it's based off 1 cup of roasted pumpkin. So I'm just showing you how much that is, but I'm actually going to put the rest of it in because I want more. I want to eat it all week, so I'm going to have to, yeah, have more of it. Otherwise it'll just run out in like a day. I've been putting it on everything recently. And I have to be conscious of the fact that there is a little bit of that mustard in there, but right now, it's the least of my worries. So that's about 1 cup. That's a fully packed cup. Let's go straight into the blender. So that was with all the herbs, the spices that we did before with the water and the Dijon. And technically you can just blitz that up and away you go. When you add more in, be mindful that you're going to change the ratio of the spiciness and the flavors. So this one will be a little more mild because it's got more pumpkin, which I don't have a problem with. But when I spoke to my dad the other day, he wanted to have more spiciness. So the beauty about this style of eating is rather than getting your stock standard flavor combination from the shops, you get to choose your own. So if you want a little bit more spice, put in some more chipotle powder. You could technically add in a little bit of chili powder too, but I don't think it needs it. And that is how you make it. So now what we'll do, once that's all in, I don't want to waste any of it, so I'm very conscious of that. I'll probably just munch on that later to get all the rest of the pumpkin out. Okay. And I'm going to blitz it up. That's it. So good. So you can see when I pour it that it's quite saucy. See? Oh, delicious. So you can also see here I'm keeping this in Tupperware. I know a lot of people prefer glass, but right now I've only got limited glass containers. So that's why I'm reverting back to Tupperware for the minute. Obviously Tupperware is pretty good quality, so it's not the worst thing in the world. But I am aware, people on the internet, I'm aware of the plastic. Also, I'm not overly a stickler for everything having to be perfect, because I think if you're aiming for perfection, you'll never get started. And that's a trap. So I think any step in the right direction is a good step. And even if you're willing to just try one meal, just one, give one a go, see how it goes. And it empowers you to just make a little change. It doesn't need to be, you don't need to go fully raw vegan to make a good change in your health. I mean, a lot of raw vegans would say it's the only way. I understand, you know, I've dabbled in the raw and it's wonderful. No doubt about it. It's a fantastic way to eat. But because I don't do nuts and seeds, I find it very challenging and a little bit too limiting for where I'm at the moment. So this is why I do this with a little bit of cooked food, and you know, the raw community will probably be shaking their heads. That's okay, raw community, we love you. Doing amazing things, honestly, like really helping a lot of people that do need to go completely raw. I totally get it. And especially high fruit and all that. I still have a very high fruit diet. I've already eaten a big smoothie this morning and plan on having more later on. So I'm not shy on the fruit. Taste test. Every time. So good. I want it on everything. It's so delicious. So that is my pumpkin mayo. Now the other day I put it into a little squeezy bottle, which I think is a great option, and then you can just squeeze it onto your salads. Obviously those squeeze bottles as well are plastic, so if you can find BPA free, that's a better option, but they're very convenient and you can keep them in the fridge for a few days. Obviously you don't want to be keeping this in the fridge for weeks and weeks on end. It doesn't have any preservatives, but I guarantee you if you make this, it will not be in your fridge for very long. You'll be eating it and it'll be gone, and soon enough you'll be back down at the shops buying another couple of pumpkins to make more. So enjoy the recipe and give it a go.